Hey YouTube! Here, I have seen one of these for a while. These used to be relatively common. It's quite fingerprinty. I should give it a wipe. This is Jen's new guitar. This is a Hondo Professional series. So, unlike all the Hondos you see if the Hondo you've got, if you're looking at an advert and it looks a bit like it looks like it's a Les Paul, it's not a Japanese one, even though every advert says they are. So the Japanese Hondos, I think every time I've done one of these videos, there's this one, which is available, and this is I think it's a 1.0 something. I think, I've got a bass. I've got the bass version of it. I think it's a 1.080. I think it's a 1.030 or a 1.050 or something like that. It says professional on the headstock. So Matsumoku built these ones. So this is available as this guitar in brown. There's a sort of sunbursty one and it's black. I don't think there's any other colours. There's a slightly higher one which has more of a sort of this kind of look with the stripes down the middle. Basically the same guitar. It might be a set neck. This is a bolt neck. There's an 8-string bass version of it, which I've seen once. And that's the Matsumoku Hondos. There were also some other ones that were built by Tokai at the same time. There was a P-Bass, a Fender lead copy, and a Dan Electro Longhorn, which is actually better than a Dan Electro because it's made of wood. But as far as I know, that is the only Japanese. No, there's not. There's one. Bob's got one. He's got a... I was going to say it's like a Les Paul Junior, but it's more like a... Marauder. So it's kind of Les Paul-y shaped. It's kind of like this, apart from it's got a cutaway. I can't remember what it's called. Is it called a Ghost or is that the Vantage version? There is a Les Paul one, but there's not one with binding that looks like, looks like that. There isn't one like that. It's Japanese. Yeah, so these have a 3-piece neck, or I'm assuming it does. You can't actually see it on this. You can see it on my... It's just not bright enough to see. Yeah, so these, they should be called walnut, but I'm pretty sure it's just brown. So we've got MMK45 pickups. I know this took me out to have a look because someone had put this pickup in the wrong way around. Hardtail, through-strung, Telecaster style, volume and a tone, a coil split switch. Is it better than a Gibson Les Paul? Most of them. I mean, certainly, I know people always go on about how, it's like, I've got this very special Epiphone. Yeah. I've played some special Epiphones. None of them as good as this though. This is like pro. It says professional on it. Yeah. And that actually meant something. So, single coil neck pickup. Bridge pickup. Both as singles. And have some buzz in your right ear. Yep, so you see this is a Hondo 2. I'm not really sure the exact significance of the Hondo 2 thing, but I do know there was a transitional period with these. So these were made in 1980 and 1981. So this is 1980 or 1981. My bass, which has this logo on it, is 1981. At some point they changed over. There's not very many of these I've got. This one was black, I painted it. So, I mean, long before I met JPAX, so having brightly coloured guitars was... Yes! I'm going to say stolen from me. Go for it, yes. All our success is down to me. I do need to go into this and put longer screws in. The pickups are slightly far away from the strings. So this again, this is just the bass version of that guitar. You can see on this one that it's a 3-piece laminate. It's also got a maple fingerboard. I always like this bit here. The way the neck kind of has this extension thing to make it a smoother join onto the body. The body, I think, actually looking at it, I think the body might be identical to that. So usual go-to P-bass pickup, a 32-inch scale. Just thought I'd do that. Make it stereo. Having no end of problems with things cutting in and out, and one of the channels on the desk died, and also I bashed the audio interface. Try to find something behind the computer, so it cut out. So the video I did of that, I don't know why I've got this running while I'm shouting into the mic, but the video I did of that, and it was just using the camera mic because everyone else had disconnected. Bastard! Oh, I forgot it's got humbuckers as well. Humbucker! Not strict strains in yet. So yeah, aye, humbuckers. And I don't know, that this thing about the MMK45 thing, these do not sound like the pickups you put in a Westone Spectrum. They might be the same, and maybe it's the body wood that makes a difference. So, I mean, it's not really neck heavy, maybe slightly. It's kind of a wee bit like the. Let's be honest, it's a copy of the Falcon. There's so many guitars that are a copy of the Washburn Falcon. That was a big hit at the time. So you get various ones. It always comes out as being heavy, but it doesn't. The first thing I said to Jim, I thought, I bet you it was really heavy. The bass is heavy, but I mean, is it really that heavy? So we're thinking 3.5 kilograms is average, 3.6 is about average. Anything over 4, you start thinking it's heavy, and under 3, it starts thinking it's really light. So, oh my god, I must be immune. It's 4.46 kilograms. That's insane. 4.4. Jesus. Yeah, that's a lot. Hold on, and that's 9.8. That's nearly 10 pounds. So yeah, it's a heavy one. This is heavier. Right, reset. What's this going away then? Jesus. I think, to be honest, the body weight's the same, just the neck's longer. 4.8, 4.775 kilograms. Yeah. So, not one for the ladies or the lightweights. 10.5 pounds. Yeah. Bizarre, it doesn't feel that. This must weigh even more. This must be like into the serious boat anchor territory. So this has become into a Weigh My Guitar episode. Come on, reset. Go back to kilograms. The sensible measurement. There we go. What's it? That was 4.4. What's this? 4.4. 4.5. Yeah, so I think 4.5 is, to me, that's a heavy Les Paul, but you can see why, this did cost like 6 times as much as a Hondo. But this is like the pro level. We're going to make a guitar that costs the same as a Gibson, but is much better. And it's like, oh, you're just saying it's much. No, honestly, take a look at this up close, have a shot of it and go, I've never played a 1958 genuine Les Paul. I have played a reissue one, which was $8,000 or something like that. But that's not what. That's not all the Japanese companies were doing. Aria were doing that. So you get the Aria PE 1500, and you get the Ibanez Artist series, which were doing that. As in, we're going to make a guitar that costs to buy about the same as a Gibson, but it's miles better. This is the one where we're going to make a guitar as good as a Gibson, but make it miles cheaper. I don't know what the equivalent of this these days would be. It's super, super rock solid. It's a little bit bland, hence why I painted mine like a tiger. But Jen said she doesn't want to paint it. I think she should. I think it would look great. So this guitar, very much on a par. I think with its weight, it's probably slightly cheaper built than the other ones I'm going to throw in are the Washburn Raven, which is I prefer. I'm used to looking at that shape. And the Yamaha SG200, the Aria Cardinal, an Aria Thor sound as well. There's the Ibanez Musician, is it? All basically making this guitar, maybe even the West Tone Thunder. Kind of half of them are made in the same factory. It's just that they're just basically... This was a Korean company that ordered guitars. It's by complete coincidence as well. After 1981 or 1981, suddenly the Korean Hondo guitars got a lot better. And basically, by the time you get to 82, 83, they were churning out Les Pauls and Strats, which we now know as like a standard £700-800 Korean guitar. That feel very similar to that. After they'd had the Japanese factory build some guitars for them. The Hondos, I've had some Hondos that have been not guitars to the point of, it's the guitar-shaped object where it does have strings, yeah, but you can't intone it in every second. I had a Les Paul, one of the worst guitars I've ever played was a Hondo Les Paul that I bought. It was sort of like a Junior, the fake humbuckers. The bridge was made you could see if you really pushed your thumbnail into it, you could dent it. It was made of like some sort of metallic clay. The neck was plywood on its edge. The fingerboard was plywood on its face. And you're just like, basically it was one of those ones where, what could I change on this? Everything. There wasn't anything on it. Strap buttons. Strings, if you just put them on, everything else was pish. And that was a late 70s one. So I think what they did was when they went and bought these guitars off, we bought 5,000 guitars off you. Can we come round and see how they're built? Seeing as we're investing just to make sure. And then they went round and went, so you put the fingerboard on first. What's that machine there? And basically got an awful lot better. I don't know whether they were helped or stolen. The ideas were stolen. But these I've had to have, when I would say 1980, if you're talking about in the 90s when these were 10 years old, this was the best guitar you could buy. You could pick these up for under 100 quid. I think I paid £110 for the bass, but it was all scratched. For that kind of money, and for that kind of money you would get a pro level guitar. And it's not even, if only I'd known these things at the time. I'm pretty sure I remember seeing these in second-hand junk shops and stuff like that, and just going, what was that? I always remember, why have all these guitars got cream pickups? I wonder what, it's just a fashion thing to make them look like DiMarzios. But it's one of those ones. If you go into Guitar or Anderton, I keep slagging off any modern guitar shop with a grand, you're going to get a guitar that looks much fancier than this and has a fancy name on it. You're not going to get a guitar that's better, though. It's just one of those things that just feeling it. I mean, it's like the Japanese stuff. It's so much easier to adjust and work on. All the screws turn. Nothing's ever in the wrong place ever. Any repairs I've done on Japanese guitars, it's been damaged or somebody's tried to modify it. Generally, the bits don't wear out or break or anything like that. Everything's normally pretty much fine. It's just because some idiot decided they were going to try and fit a Floyd Rose to it. That's why I got it cheap. That kind of thing. So they're well worth looking at. And the Hondo trick, again, as I said, this one is basically 90% of the Japanese Hondos are this model. These are excellent. As I said, my pal Andy's got a sunburst bass version, which is kind of this colour, but kind of lighter in the middle. There's definitely a black one. Pal Anthony's got a black one. Heavy guitar, though. Not brilliant for sitting down, but it is a Les Paul, I suppose, arguably. It's just that, Les Pauls don't really sit on your leg. Not that I ever play sitting down. That's something that's shit about Les Pauls, but that doesn't affect me. I don't know. I was talking to my pal the other day. He was looking at guitars. I was like, what do you think of these ones? And it was like offsets. He was showing me. It was like a sort of jazz master and a sort of a telemaster. And it was like, to be honest, I'm just not that into offsets. It's like any guitar designed to be played sitting down. It's not designed to be rocked, is it? Flying V's your ultimate case. You can't play that sitting down. It's designed to be played and standing top of a monitor in front of a crowd on fire. That's what you're meant to do with it. That's what I like about that. But I can just imagine this in the 80s pub scene, and people are this sort of guitar being an absolute industry standard. This and basically, why'd you buy this and not a West Tone Thunder? My pal's got a West Tone Thunder, so he'd buy something slightly different, but let's just say it's kind of West Tone Thunder. West Tone are better, have the Gotoh tuners. This has got the Oh, these aren't the original tuners because there's extra tuner holes. But I don't remember what these come with. Whereas the West Tone came with branded Goto stuff. The bridge as well will just be it's a bent piece of metal. It's like, does it really make any difference if it's a better bent piece of metal, really? And it's too strong. I mean, that's where you're getting all the sustain. In the late 70s, by the way, sustain weight equals sustain equals what you want. That's good, is the way it worked. That's why you get the brass things. You know, that thing there weighs a ton. It's total solid. It's brass nuts and brass saddles and all that. It was all about the sustain. To be fair, amps were different back then. Okay, yes, you did get your Marshall GTMs and all that, but they were expensive. They weren't the ones that people actually had. I think nowadays you see people with Marshall stacks and stuff like that because you can pick them up not that expensive. They've been making them for years, but back then it was only, you know, you'd made it. You know, Saxon had Marshalls, you know, stuff like that. But you were kind of almost at the stage of, if not a record deal, kind of getting towards that. If you were running big, massive Marshalls, instead you'd be running, you know, H&H combos and stuff like that. So this sort of guitar is what you need to drive amps that don't have distortion. And the pickups are great. Basically, the pickups just sound like DiMarzio Super Distortion. Aria Pro 2 as well. I think there might be the same pickups that are in my Aria PE. Yeah, so there was a wee bit of a guitar one. Did have a wee bit of a jam in it. So the Hondo, there actually is a site that came up. I got mad into Hondos for a while. If you look back in my videos, a good bit when everyone was mono and blurry and in a different house. I think at one point I had 5 Hondos because Hondo was the first brand that I bought a guitar of. That it was a total game changer. I bought a Hondo Telecaster, 1986 or 7 or something like that. It was just an ash telly with a binding on the top, but all natural, with a Tiger type, looked like Prince's guitar, but it had a pointy headstock, and I bought it in cash converters, just because as a telly, you don't often see tellies for 30 quid, and the nut was off it, so you couldn't actually play it. And did it have Grover tuners? I think it had Grover tuners on it. If you're looking at it, so I tried to haggle with the guy. He's like, no, I've just put it out 5 minutes ago. And I was like, right, okay. So I just gave him the 30 quid, took it home, glued the nut on and wired it up, and it was like, this is a real guitar. What the fuck's going on here? Why? No. I do get it that you can buy guitars for 50 quid and stuff like that, but they're not real guitars. You need an Epiphone to be a guitar good enough to jam with your pals and go to rehearsal studios. You need a Epiphone Squire. You need a Gibson Fender if you're going to be actually doing gigs. You know, you can't do gigs with these, you know, £50 ones. I'm thinking of, you know, Marlin Sidewinders and, you know, Westfields and stuff like that. That's totally not true. That this guitar was, well, I was thinking this is as good as my Epiphone SG, and it's like, well, it's made in the same factory. You know, it's Samick, so it's like, okay, it's 5 years younger than my Samick, but it's just like the quality level. Even though it's a Telecaster with a pointy head and not an SG, they do feel the same. I do keep getting that. I'm getting better at telling where, like, I mean, see, if you blindfolded me and made me play this, I didn't know you had this Hondo, I could probably have told you it was a Japanese guitar. It feels like my Washburn Tour 24. And it's like, just getting, because I've got through so many guitars going through my hands, I'm getting better at it. It's like finding out what things are just by looking at them without doing any research or anything like that. So I can kind of tell a Samick or a Cort. There's a slight difference. I could tell you this is a Samick or a Cort, and then I could make a pretty educated guess at which one it was out of the two. I mean, can I tell Indonesian guitars? Maybe a wee bit. They're Cort. I don't know. See, it's like, but I can tell a Fuji Gen as well. I've got lots of them. I think I would probably have even guessed that the FGN was a Fuji Gen if I hadn't seen it and was playing it. There's just something about the way they're constructed. That's kind of why I'm getting a wee bit. That wee Spanish guitar I've got, which is actually made in Spain, doesn't feel like any other guitar I've got. It's like, it's very different. I've got a wee Japanese nylon stringer, and it feels Japanese. The Spanish one's just like, this is a different thing. I suppose technically I don't have any American guitars. I've got a Gibson SG. Yeah, you do have a few American guitars. These are American, but they're custom one-offs. You'll not find one of them. Rock on!